Hi again, friends. It's Miss Molly, an occupational therapist with Durham Public Schools, and today we are going to be doing salt paintings. I like this activity because it involves a fine motor component, a visual motor component, sensory as well, and then it's really creative. There's not a lot of rules that have to happen. You kind of let the child lead the activity and just kind of follow their lead. So let's get started.
For this craft, you'll need sturdy paper like cardstock, or if you have cardboard boxes lying around the house, you could always use some of that. Salt, some liquid glue of some kind. You could use tacky glue, you can use Elmer's, as well as watercolors and brushes. But if you don't have that, you could always just use some food coloring and water instead of the watercolor. The first step that you're going to do is to take your glue and pour it onto your cardstock in whatever design you'd like. We were going to do a kind of summer sea creature activity because that's what we saw on Pinterest. We saw a jellyfish, but my kids really just want to do something abstract, and like I mentioned, this is their creation, so I'm just letting them do what they want. And remember those pouring skills we worked on in our pouring station last week? They come into play again here. I told you we'd use those a lot. All right, and then if you want, you can use a paintbrush to kind of spread around that glue, because what we're gonna do is pour the salt onto that glue, and that's what we're gonna be able to paint. All right, both kids are satisfied with their glue designs. There you go. Thanks for the help, sister. All right, good. And good. Again, we're using our pouring skills. We're trying to make sure we get some salt on top of all of the glue. And this is also where, and I can shake that up a bit, where the baking tray comes in handy, just to try to contain some of the mess. If you're doing this outside, again, it's not a big deal, but I just kind of like this to kind of contain some of what we're doing. The next step is to shake off the excess salt from your picture and from the glue. So, yep, there you go. Good. And then you could, we could try to get that back on. So you could see probably in that last video that my sons came off in a big blob. So I would caution you not to use too much glue, because it will apparently slide right off your paper. So now we are gonna go ahead and start painting. And you can see the kids are hard at work here. My daughter is doing some tropical colors, and my son's creation looks a little bit like the coronavirus picture. Mm-hmm. So he's just kind of doing whatever he feels like, and that's totally cool. Like I said, this is a child-led project. So there's no right or wrong here. Let your child experiment, let them do their own design. It's their creation. So my son's decided that he is all done. So here's his creation. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Well, I just want to make it like a coronavirus thing with all the colors.
Ah, okay. So we can really remember why we were in quarantine. Okay, and you said yours, when you touched it, felt a little bit like slime. That's pretty cool.
And cold.
And it's cold. Yours is turning out like what?
Kona ice.
Kona ice. So that
Coronavirus
is
ice.
Coronavirus ice. So Kona ice is a snow cone truck, a food truck that sometimes comes around to our neighborhood, which has been a real highlight of our quarantine, right? Mm-hmm. And you always like to get the rainbow flavor. So this is kind of like your rainbow tropical creation.
Tropic stuff.
And here is my daughter's completed craft. Whoa, it's running.
Cool.
Do you want to say anything about it?
I think it was really, really fun to make.
Yeah.
And
What did you like about it?
I liked that we got to paint our own different colors, and we didn't have to make a certain creation. We could just do whatever we wanted.
Awesome. And yours looks like a beautiful sunset there.
Mm-hmm.
Great job. Thanks for helping.
So that is our salt painting. What I liked most about this was that I was able to work on a number of different things. I worked on grasp, fine motor control, precision, pressure, pouring, sensory. We captured all of those skills in an activity that was child-led. And I liked that my children picked up on that and that they understood that they had kind of creative control throughout the activity, and that was super important. I have a confession to make. I am a perfectionist, and when I became a mom and when I was first in graduate school for OT, it was really hard for me to not have an end design in mind. Not have a jellyfish or a shark or whatever it was that we had set out to make, but just to let the creative process evolve and let the kids experiment and play, because that's when they learn the most. If you're doing it for them or you're heavily controlling the activity, they're not learning quite as much as if they were just doing it on their own. You know, my sons came off in a big blob. We laugh about it. Sometimes there are tears, of course, when things go like that, but you know, we experimented, we learned. It's not a big deal. We can make another one if we need to. So just keep that in mind. Don't put too much pressure on yourself or your children. Have fun with it and have a great summer. Bye, everyone.